I'm Osa Katchen. I'm the Chief Librarian and CEO of the library, and I want to talk a little bit about why volunteers matter so much to us. So when we think about the library, it really is about sharing knowledge, it is about bringing community together, and our volunteers are a critical component of us being able to do that. You know, if I look back at some of the statistics, they're really awe-inspiring. 2018-19, we had over 600 adult volunteers who spent 23,000 hours connecting with our community. They connected through English language learning, they supported literacy, they did food programming, provided home delivery services. In every instance, the work of the volunteer actually drew somebody into our community, shared important knowledge, and created community. So to all of you adult volunteers, thank you so much for what you do. You are a critical part of the library being able to serve our community. I've also heard from many of you that it means a lot to you to volunteer. So, you know, our commitment to you is to give you a great experience, an opportunity for you to also connect and to have meaning in your relationship with the library and your relationship with your community. We also have an amazing core of youth volunteers. So these are our leading readers who help young kids learn how to read. There are homework helpers, there are society shapers, there are creative doers, there are podcasters, there are cooks, there are planners. You grab hold of what you see needs to change in your community and you lean into it and you give your expertise and your energy to making the library a great place. You also model for the young people who you support a way of connecting with community, a way of taking hold of the things you want to change in the community and making that change happen. So we are in awe of you. And you know, we're here to support you as well. When it comes time to get a reference letter, come to us. When you need some mentorship or support, we're here to provide that to you because we see what you provide back to the community. And then a year ago, COVID hit, and we all needed to change the way we worked. We are so thankful for all the ways our volunteers adjusted. You went from in-person programming and service to virtual programming and service. You adapted to new protocols around home delivery, and many of you gathered to help pack those 10,000 snacks and lunch bags that have helped keep our community fed. So as we celebrate our volunteers, you know, my heart goes out to you as the CEO of the library, and I speak on behalf of my whole team when we say thank you. Thank you for helping make the library the great place that it is. You're part of the family.
My name is Yongmei Chen. I'm the Newcomer Services Coordinator at Cation Goodman Library. We have many excellent volunteers work with our newcomer services at the Cation Goodman Library. Judy Haley was one of them, and she also was our first volunteer who are willing to try our online program for last year, this pandemic situation, and also she helped other newcomers in her conversation group. Now let's hear from Judy Haley about her volunteer experience.
My name is Judy Haley and I volunteer with the Cation Goodman Library. I'm a facilitator for English language conversation classes for newcomers. I was at a point where I had the time to do volunteer work on an ongoing basis for some organization, and I thought about things I would like to do. I wanted to do something where I'd be working with people, where I would be learning. I like libraries. They're a very comfortable place for me, and so I gave it a shot and I love it. The most rewarding is the thing out of this experience is the feedback that we get from the participants. The conversation group gives them an opportunity to ask questions, try things out in a safe environment. And you know, when you're helping somebody learn, there's always those moments where you see that someone has picked something up, and that's very, very rewarding. I find their stories also just fascinating. It takes such courage to immigrate somewhere where you don't speak the language, and I just have so much admiration for the newcomers.
My name is Tatiana Samardzic, and I'm a newcomer services specialist with Halifax Public Libraries. I would like to introduce you to Virginia Olson, who has been volunteering with Halifax Public Library since 2016. During this time, Virginia has been wearing many different volunteer hats, from being a facilitator in the Conversation Club to being a host in the Newcomers Book Club, and again a facilitator in the Citizenship Test Preparation course. Besides volunteering with Halifax Public Libraries, Virginia has also been an active volunteer member with the Ecology Action Center. However, her volunteer experiences are not limited to her local communities alone. Virginia has also been volunteering internationally with Canadian international development organizations, both in Africa and Southeast Asia. I would like to pass it on to Virginia now so she can share some of her wonderful volunteer experiences with you.
Well, I started volunteering with the library in the Newcomers program because I really enjoy teaching adults, and I also really like being part of a multicultural community, so I thought that the library was a good place to do this. And also because I'm very curious about other cultures, and I thought that volunteering in the Newcomers program at the library was a good way for me to continue learning about other cultures. Volunteering is a great way for me to continue to use the skills that I developed during my career while also learning new skills after retirement. I find volunteering in the Newcomers program for me is a really good way to expand upon my curiosity and fulfill my curiosity about people, and also I really enjoy learning from other people as well. Well, I'm a very inquisitive person, and I enjoy learning about other cultures, and because of that I've traveled a lot and spent time working overseas, and I think experiences like that have motivated me to volunteer with newcomers at home, because when I've been overseas I know how difficult it is to be in a place where you don't speak the language and nothing is familiar, and I can only imagine how difficult it is for a newcomer in Canada to try to adjust to life in Canada. So that's why I really like volunteering with this program, because it's a way for me to help newcomers to Canada adjust to life here.
Hello, I'm Sean Gregory. I'm a staff person with the Halifax Public Libraries. I'd like to introduce you to Monica Romero, who is a volunteer with the English Conversation Program. It's hosted by the Alderney Gate and Woodlawn Public Library branches. Monica has been volunteering with our organization for the past 4 years, and she's going to be answering some questions for us today concerning her volunteer experience with the public library.
I was born in Mexico and I immigrated to Canada in 2009. I have a background in science, and more recently I have gained a certificate in adult education, and more recently I gained a certificate as a literacy practitioner.
I'm Amy McDonald, and I coordinate the English Conversation Group at Halifax Central Library. Next, we are going to hear from Jillian Webster. Jillian joined our program about 6 months ago, September of last year.
Well, I am retired. I retrained to teach English as a second language a while ago, and I came to Canada 40 years ago, and I did feel a bit at sea, even though my own language is English. And I really found that it took a while to get into the community, and now I'm semi-retired. I'm looking for things to do and give back to the community, so here I am at the library.
And next we have Victoria Kim. Victoria has been volunteering with us for about 3 years, although she began as a learner herself in the same program.
I have been in Halifax 7th year, and I started volunteer for the 3rd year in conversation group. First time I start in Central Library for the learner. So I learning first after graduated this group, and then wanted to be a help. You know, I know already what is difficulty or what is the helping for the people who want to settle here. So I hope I teaching, not a teaching only, I just give to the lifestyle or cultural, everything I give to back to people, and then they learning and developed, and then the living life is more than better. One is best thing was I'm in charge of the beginner group. So beginner means they couldn't speak English well with just one sentence. But after that, a few months or 1 year later, I could say, hey, you are now level up. It's a perfect time for you move up to the conversation originally. So it is best to speak to person who graduated for the beginner group through the mediator group. So it's very fun and then happy to say.
Hello, and thank you for joining in our Volunteer Appreciation Week virtual celebration at Halifax Public Libraries. I'm Heather McKenzie, Volunteer Services Manager at the library, and one of the very best parts of my job is getting to meet so many of our fantastic volunteers. I'm always so impressed by their passion and commitment, and you've already met a few of them in this presentation. One of the most important parts of Volunteer Appreciation Week is recognizing the volunteers who are reaching service milestones in 2021. This represents outstanding volunteer commitment, and this year we have 25 volunteers who are reaching their 5-year anniversary, 7 who have been with us for 10 years, and 4 who are reaching their 15-year mark. This represents over 250 years of volunteer service, which is pretty amazing, and we can't thank them enough for all they have given to the library and the community over that time. In addition, we have several volunteers who are getting very close to their 20-year mark, and 3 champions in our home delivery service who have been with us for over 20 years. We present their names here with a big round of virtual applause. If you would like to join our great volunteer team, check out the available volunteer opportunities on our website at www.halifaxpubliclibraries/support/volunteer. For our grand finale today, we want to shine the spotlight on our amazing teen volunteers. In particular, one participant in an innovative new volunteer program called Society Shapers, where youth are able to propose and develop a project that will have a significant community impact. So let's meet our super society shaper right now.
Hi, I'm Randolph White. I'm a community library assistant at the Sackville Public Library. I'm also a volunteer supervisor with a new initiative that we're doing at Halifax Public Libraries called Society Shapers. Society Shapers is a program that started back in the fall of 2020 where we interviewed and recruited volunteers to bring their ideas from the community into the walls of the library and for library staff to help make those dreams come true. One of our volunteers, Jenny, had an idea of doing STEM activities from the comfort of your own home. She created a kit series called the Science Nebula Kit that could be borrowed from any one of the 14 branches of Halifax Public Libraries. We met with Jenny online, virtually, to do the first planning parts of this program, and near the end met with her in person to assemble the kits and deliver them to all the branches of Halifax Public Libraries. This time I'd like to introduce you to Jenny Ventkat.
I've always been really passionate about science from a really young age, and I participated in lots of science fairs when I was younger, and I always really loved doing hands-on science experiments with science kits. But one thing I noticed was that these kits were often really expensive and they weren't very accessible to all youth. So I really wanted to create some sort of kit or program that would be more accessible to youth and children, regardless of any financial barriers and any additional barriers due to COVID-19. So that really is what inspired me to start making these kits. The kit contains materials for 10 different experiments, as well as an instructions booklet with all the information detailing how to do the experiments and the science behind the experiments, and I created all of that. And it also comes along with YouTube tutorials, which also walk you through all of the experiments step by step. So one of the experiments that's a more simple experiment is watching what happens when you place celery or like a flower into a glass of colored water. And kids can see as the colored water travels all the way up through the celery, and they can learn about how water is transported in plants, because the green celery will start to change colors as the food coloring water goes all the way up through it. A more advanced experiment is extracting DNA out of fruits. So kids can learn about what DNA is, how it's our genetic code, and how it's so important to all living things. And then using some basic household materials, they can actually extract DNA out of strawberries. So that's a really cool experiment. It sounds really complicated, but you can actually do it in the comfort of your own home. And this kit walks you through other experiments like that. I think volunteering with the Halifax Public Libraries has been incredibly rewarding for me. And it just feels great to know that you're making an impact on someone else's life.
I think all the people, they need help. So each of the person, they helping and then give to their projects or time or talent.
The library gives so much to people, and because it's public, everyone can come, and it's a learning place for lifelong learning. We're all in lifelong learning.
I've been volunteering with the Halifax Public Libraries for 4 years now, and I can tell you it's an awesome place to volunteer at. The English conversation program staff are a pleasure to work with. When they create this fun and engaging atmosphere, it creates a cascading effect that we, the tutors, take to the participants.
Some people think that volunteering is a very altruistic thing to do, but I think that the volunteer gets as much out of it as the participants in the program that you're volunteering for. I definitely my life has been enriched by all of the volunteer work that I do, and that in itself is a really good reason to volunteer.
People should volunteer for the Halifax Public Libraries because it's a service within our community that's available to everybody. You don't pay for anything here, and you can come and get assistance with many different things. Books are just the beginning of it. The library staff are very good support for volunteers, and they are very appreciative of what volunteers do. And the participants in the conversation groups, likewise, they're very appreciative. And there's many different volunteer jobs that you could do at the library.
So get coming.